three things that last: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not jealous. Isn't the second reading from St. Paul today a great reading? Our Sunday scripture readings or cycles are usually every 3 years we cycle through our cycle works. So we only hear this reading once every 3 years. The ones at Easter and Christmas and baptism, they're said the same thing every year. But unfortunately, this is only said once every 3 years. I wish it was said every year, or better yet, every month. Love is not pompous. Love is not inflicted. Love is never rude. It is not self-seeking. This entire passage from St. Paul is one of the best known passages in the gospel. And it's used really frequently at funerals and weddings. And it's used in churches of all denominations. Love is not prone to anger. Neither does it brood over injuries. Love does not rejoice in what is wrong, but rejoices with the truth. St. Paul wrote this almost 2,000 years ago. And rather than defining love, he personifies love. He personifies it. I could be a psychologist or have 10 PhDs in some clinical psychology, and I couldn't say it any better than the way Paul says it. There is no limit to love's forbearance, to its trust, its hope, its power to endure. Love never fails. As we read St. Paul's list of love's characteristics, we realize how difficult and countercultural it is to be a Christian Catholic in today's society. Our society does not encourage us to be patient or to be kind. In fact, it encourages us to seek our own self-interest. We are the ones who have to be number one. It's all about me. It applauds pomposity and ego inflation by making icons and stars of movie stars, rock stars, sports stars. And, what is really the true definition of the word love? Unfortunately, TV and movies and the internet and you name it, all tend to portray love in a very sensuous way, usually always based on a physical attraction. Our culture either stereotypes love or trivializes it with no understanding whatever as to what love really is. We know that love encompasses so much more. But what is our definition of love? Excuse me. There was an old Broadway musical, still very relevant today, written over 55 years ago, and it's always in a continual revival. And this Broadway musical is called Fiddler on the Roof. And Fiddler on the Roof was a story set in Russia about 1890, and it's about a Russian-Jewish couple, Tevye and his wife, Goldie. This is a story of their marriage, their struggles, their sorrows, their joys, all that goes into a great marriage. Midway through the story, when their 25th anniversary is just about to come up, Tevye asks Goldie, his wife, this question. And he addresses her and he says, "Do you love me?" And Goldie kind of looks at him astonished, and she says, in a sense, "You got to be kidding." And she goes on to reply, "Do I love you? For 25 years I've washed your clothes, cooked your meals, raised your children, milked your cows. After 25 years, why talk about love right now?" And Tevye still is kind of mad because she didn't give him a direct answer. So he goes back at her and he says, "Do you love me?" So Goldie continues on by saying, "For 25 years I've lived with him, fought with him, starved with him. For 25 years my bed is his. If all those things aren't love, what is?" And Tevye answers, "It doesn't change a thing, but even so, after 25 years, it's nice to know." Like St. Paul, Goldie doesn't define love, he personifies love. And so as a married deacon and a father, I would define love in a very similar fashion. Love is getting up with a newborn baby at 3 o'clock in the morning and feeding it so your wife can have a break. That to me was always tough. Love is changing diapers, lots of diapers. And with our 6 kids, we did a lot of diapers. And the interesting thing was, in those days, the diapers were not paper, they were cloth. So after you changed your child's diaper, you usually had to go to the toilet to clean it out. But I loved doing it. I would do it again. I wish I could. But love is wanting to relax at the end of the day and read your paper, but knowing that your spouse needs a little time because she or he would like to tell you about their day. Love is stretching your finances to the breaking point to give your children a decent education. Married or single, love is being there when somebody needs you, be it a death, a divorce, a job change, or somebody just coping with a drug addiction, or a sick spouse in a memory care facility. Those are always tough to see. Love is being there when somebody needs you, even if you just have to listen to somebody at the end of the day because they have a problem and they've had a bad day. That's love. For those of you who still live at home, be it grade school or high school or college, love is listening to your parents' wishes and respecting them because they are your mom and dad. My son's here too, and he always hears that. Okay. Sometimes loving those who are close to us and that we know best remains the toughest thing to do in our own lives. Sometimes we read or hear about someone who died, and the adult children are quoted as saying, "My mom or my dad," and unfortunately it's usually the dad, never really told me that he loved me. With all these examples of parental love that I just gave to you, those children should know that their mom and dad did love them, but they may not have shown it in their actions, but unfortunately, they didn't express it. They may have shown the love in their actions, but they never shown it verbally, expressed it verbally to their children. A lot of us know we're loved, and like Tevye, we want to be shown it. We want to ask, like he did, "Do you love me?" But Goldie, just like Goldie, we may take it for granted that what we ever do for others, they should know that we love them. Yet we still ask, "Do you love me?" In closing, as a parent, and most of us out here are parents today, maybe it's something that you should do today and tell your children, no matter how old they are, to just tell them, "I love you." You can text them, call them on the phone, or just get a hold of them and tell your children, "I love you." And if you got a spouse, I hope you say that every day to your spouse, "I love you." Okay. 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 And to throw a little humor into the end of this homily, and I've said this before, there are another 3 words that are almost as important in marriage as "I love you," and they are, "Let's eat out."
Thank you for joining us for this celebration of the Mass. This virtual Mass is broadcast to hundreds of people every day of the week. You know, over 100 years ago, the very first celebrations of the Mass took place on the 2nd floor of the Glenview Public House. It's been inconceivable that 100 years later, we would be reaching so many people all over the world through this technology. If you'd like to support the ongoing broadcasts of OLPH's Masses, please go to our website, go to Give Central, and you'd be able to support the ongoing outreach of this virtual ministry. Thank you for your support. Most of all, thank you for joining us in prayer. God bless you.